Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Richard Dubya here. What's going on? So yes, this is W Reloaded. This is the series, if you will, of videos of me re-uploading to the channel that I took down previously due to a COPA scare, in fear of getting a huge fine. So now that I'm not in serious fear of getting that, I am going to be re-uploading some more videos. Ones like this. And essentially, I hope you guys enjoy. Oh, yes, before you guys continue on to the video, one more thing. Yes, I do realize that the Nintendo 64 Classic probably won't come to fruition, but even so, I want to put my video back out there online so that way I can tell if I predicted it or not to the fullest. Does that make sense? But otherwise, enjoy. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Richard Dubya. What's going on? So, as you may or may not know, that the N64 Classic is coming out pretty soon, I would guess. But everybody's getting their predictions in for what's going to be on there. From what I hear, there's going to be 20 games, which I have a list for you. Based on bestsellers list, Metacritic, and what was previously on the other classics, like the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic. So, let's check out my list. Number 1. So, first on my list, I have Mario 64, the best-selling Nintendo 64 game out there. And not to mention launch title for the Nintendo 64. It was published, or released, I should say, in the US, September 29th, 1996. This is a no-brainer. This one you should definitely have on the N64 Classic. It doesn't even need a mention, but you know what? We're going to put it first on our list here. Number 2. So for number 2, we have Pilot Wings. Now, I'm not familiar with Pilot Wings personally, but it is a launch title. And it was very highly rated on Metacritic. So I don't see why Nintendo would not put their game on it like this. And you're going to see like a lot of first-party Nintendo games on this list. Some of them being ones that are from previous systems, like I said before. And although Pilot Wings I've never really heard of until like a couple days ago, I still think it'll end up on there just because it's the launch title and because it was a best bought game. People bought it a lot. On to the next one. Number 3. So for my number 3 spot, I have a game that's very close and near and dear to my heart. A game that I purchased before I bought my Nintendo 64, before I could even afford my Nintendo 64, in hopes to get the collector's edition cartridge. And I didn't get it until later on, but you know, I still got the standard edition at first. True story, believe it or not, I actually stayed up 11 days in a row playing this, only taking breaks to go to the bathroom or to eat. And that was just to warm up the food. I was actually eating while I was playing the game. But moving on, the game is called, as you know, the most popular Zelda game for the 64, Ocarina of Time. That's right, Ocarina of Time. Now, it is arguably the most awesome, the best Zelda game out there next to Breath of the Wild and A Link to the Past. I mean, it's neck and neck right up there with all those three. So, move on to our next one. Number 4. So number 4, as you may or may not have guessed, is Majora's Mask. I mean, why not? If you're going to have one, you might as well have both Zeldas, because they're both high-selling games. They're both really popular games. Not as popular as Ocarina of Time, but that's a hard, thing to follow. Set in Termina is supposed to be an alternate reality to Hyrule, which is why the game looks completely different from your normal atypical Zelda game, which is nice and what makes it stand out from the rest. You gotta have it in the N64 Classic just for that reason. On to the next one.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Super Smash Bros. That's right, the original. The one that started it all. The fight that began all these fights that you've seen down the line. And for me, this was the best fighting game that I could play without getting my butt completely kicked. Now, the controls are a little bit to be desired with the N64 controller, but it wasn't too bad. And, it only got better when it released Smash Bros. Melee, which, sadly, not for the 64, but happy it could be on the Game Boy Classic, or not the Game Boy Classic, the GameCube Classic, possibly. Who knows?
Number 6.
Now, for number 6, we have to talk about combining 2D with 3D. That's right, we're talking about Paper Mario. I mean, how can you forget that, Nintendo has always been an innovator. It's always been, the kind of people that like to challenge themselves and create new things that people want to play. And for me, it's Paper Mario. I mean, I own the one for the Wii. I own the ones for the DS, the 3DS. I'm pretty sure I got one more that I can't remember. I think it's for the GameCube. I believe that one's a 1,000-year-old door. And I love them all. I love them all. I have yet to play this one, which is definitely one on my list to get. Especially for the physical cartridge. I definitely want to get that. But yeah, it's an amazing game to play. I mean, combining... It's like nothing that you've seen before at that time. So this is why this should be on that list.
7, 8, and 9.
So, obviously, I can't talk about 7, 8, and 9 without spoiling one or the other. That's right, it's Mario Parties 1, 2, and 3. I mean, you gotta have it where it begins, For those of you that are fans of the original Mario Parties, this is where it started. This is where it's at. I'm a big fan of 5 and 6. I don't like the ones they did past that deal with where you guys are all together and you guys are all going through a journey together versus what it's really about. It's really about battling against each other. You don't see that happening on Monopoly where, oh, let's team up together. No. But yes, Mario Party 1, 2, and 3. That's 3 games I definitely want to see on there. It's a first-party game. You should definitely see it on there. I mean, it's a freaking Mario game. I mean, it's got to be on there, right? I mean, not saying that Mario Tennis or Golf or any other sports titles like that should be on there. Continuing on.
Number 10.
Next, for number 10, we have Kirby. I like Kirby. He's that little pink ball that sucks up everything in sight and shoots things back at you. I mean, you can do much worse than that. And, Kirby at 64, the Crystal Shards, released June 26, 2000. I mean, why not? I mean, it was on the previous... Kirby was on the previous systems. Why not this? And that's all I really have to say about it. It's like, no-brainer. Why not Kirby? Continuing on.
Number 11.
So for number 11, we have Castlevania. Castlevania has always been one of my favorite series. It was very interesting for me to see it in a 3D universe where you're able to walk forwards and backwards and, hit enemies. It was kind of a little like Zelda Ocarina of Time a little bit, but instead, you get two options to choose between the girl and the guy. The guy's got a whip, the girl shoots magic balls at the enemies. But I was able to catch some screenshots today of it, and, well, not some screenshots, some gameplay of it today. And it really seems like a really cool game to play, and from what I can remember, it's highly rated too. So it's definitely worth checking out. I mean, even if it doesn't show up on the 64 Classic. Moving on.
Number 12.
So for number 12, we have Star Fox 64. It's a reboot of the original Star Fox that's for the Super Nintendo. Now, I've always had difficulty playing these flying games, but I've always loved trying my best in Star Fox. I usually don't get past the first level, and as of lately, I've been able to at least get into the third level before completely dying and have to start all over again from the beginning. But I did get a chance to unlock Star Fox 2, which I think they did way better than they did Star Fox 1, in my opinion. But it'd be interesting seeing a reboot and seeing how they updated the graphics of Star Fox on the 64. So again, this should definitely be on there just because of that. And it was on the previous one. Just not the 64 version. Okay, moving on.
Number 13.
So, number 13 on our list is Bomberman, also known as Baku Bomberman. It's not to be confused with the 2001 release of Bomberman, which is only released in Japan, which is a completely different game almost. This one was released on November 30th, 1997. And this is another game I would like to have another chance to play. Just because, I've seen Bomberman be played. I've never had a chance to actually purchase one of the Bomberman cartridges. I'm more of a physical guy more than a digital guy, so this is why I never bought digital. But, yeah, it's nice to see that the 64 was a nice console to make all these 2D games, all these games that were very limited, and gives them more to it by adding 3D to it. It gives it more open feel to it. Not necessarily completely open world, but still not bad. But with that, they did release 3 more games after that, which was Bomberman 64. Bomberman Hero, then Bomberman 64, The Second Attack, and then the 2001 Bomberman 64 that I talked about earlier. On to the next one.
Number 14.
So number 14 is 1080 snowboarding. Yes, it does sound like a sports title, and yes, I said no to sports titles, blah, blah, blah. But this is 1080 snowboarding. This is a game that a number of people, including Metal Jesus Rocks, talks about and raves about, how much he loves this game. And, I've seen numerous ads on it. It's a highly rated game. It's a highly purchased game. It's got to be on the 64 Classic. I know I'm saying this a lot for a lot of the games that I'm listing on here, but it does make sense to put that on there. I mean, not to mention the box art looks fantastic. I mean, just look at it. I mean, come on.
Number 15.
So we have fighting titles, we have party titles, we have RPGs. What about racing? That's right, FZero X. That's what comes to my mind when I think about racing. Now, I loved F-Zero for the SNES, and I'll always love it. I just got that cartridge recently, which it's fantastic, but still equally as difficult. But it was a little more easier using the N64 controller for it. Still difficult, still crashed, still had to, get used to it. But it's a really fun game. It's got really great graphics. Love the music to it. Gotta love the music to it. And I also love, that it adds another branch of difficulty to it, another more challenging to it. Instead of, you just going like this, on the screen, you're going like this, every which way you can. In which way, this is another one that belongs on here. On to the next one.
Number 16.
So for our next part of our list, we start with Pokemon. Now, which Pokemon game? Hey You Pikachu? Pokemon Stadium? Well, Pokemon Stadium's kind of hard, and Hey You Pikachu was not highly rated. And the reason why Pokemon Stadium's awfully hard is because you have that transfer pack that allows you to plug in Game Boy games and allows you to use your Pokemon and transfer those into 3D, which is the most fantastic part about the game. But since you're not going to have it in the Classic, because I don't think they're going to make a transfer pack so you can take your DS game or your 3DS game and plug it into it. I don't think they're going to make it that way. So since it's not that, it's not Hey You Pikachu, what could it be? That's right, folks, it's Pokemon Snap. Now, this is a game that is a favorite of mine and my daughter's. We love, even just traveling, through the different levels. I mean, even if we don't take a picture. And it does provide a little bit of a challenge too, because you have to throw Pestables or apples to get the Pokemon to do what you want. And you have to have a certain number of Pokemon in them or certain poses just to make the points rack up. You get points rated by Professor Oak, so you can essentially get to the end. But it's a very nice game. It's nicely done. It's a nice casual game. And it's fun for everybody. I highly recommend it. On to the next one.
Number 17.
In April 30th, 2000, coming out way left field, 2 million copies sold. We have Excitebike 64. Second in the series of Excitebike, but the first to be on 3D. On to the next one.
Number 18.
Now for our number 18, you might have thought that I forgot about this title. And you're like, why didn't you say this title? Why didn't you say this title? Well, I'm saying it now. It's Mario Kart 64. I mean, you gotta get, the one where it started from the beginning. One of the most top-selling racing games for the Nintendo 64. I mean, where else can you get racing and battle mode? I mean, I love battle mode. I mean, I was pretty much the king of battle mode for 64. But I kind of stink at the racing. Yeah. Moving on.
Number 19.
For number 19, we have another game that I haven't played yet, but is highly rated by Metacritic, and it has sold over 3 million copies, or just about 3 million copies. It's called Wave Race 64. This is another one where you have the ability on a course to unlock riding dolphins. So if you ever want to actually ride a dolphin in a game, this is probably the game for you to do it. I mean, why not? On to the next one.
Number 20.
Last but not least, everyone's favorite doctor, Dr. Mario. That's right, Dr. Mario 64 was released April 8th, 2001. from what I read from the description, Wario's in the game as well. If you're a big Wario fan like I am, where you have to get like all the games with Wario in it, yeah, this is definitely a game to get. From what I hear is that Wario is getting the pills and then he's selling them or something like that. Not 100% sure. Again, I've never played this one, but I've played all the other Dr. Marios for the Game Boy and the NES, so I'm really curious to play this one. But again, this is one that I think would definitely be a no-brainer to go on this list. And now, if you notice that none of the titles on this list has anything for Rare, and that's because that's the only thing that really seems up in the air for me is the Rare titles. Now, I do have a list of Rare titles that could possibly be in the N64 Classic, but it's up to Nintendo to get around those licensing, or get those licenses to get those games actually put on here. And those games as follow: Donkey Kong 64, Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and Perfect Dark. Now, if any of the Rare games get on there, those are the more likely of games to get on there. But we both know two games specifically that we would love to see on the 64 Classic, which more than likely never is going to happen because of all the licensing and possibly how mature the other game is. I'm talking about GoldenEye for the 64 or Conker's Bad Fur Day. Those are two games from Rare that I would love to see on the 64 Classic, but due to licensing and probably due to the graphic nature of Conker's, we're never going to see it on there. But that's my predictions. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. As always, if you like my video, please give it a like. If you want to see more of my content, please check out the rest of my videos. I'd like to see what you think about them. If you like my content, please give it a subscribe. And don't forget to click that little bell icon. And as always, if you have any comments of things that you'd like me to do in the future, any ideas of what you want me to do in the future, any tips you can give me about doing my videos. I mean, obviously I plan on doing better about my microphone here. As you can see, I got foam up here to take care of the echo eventually. It's the first time being recorded in my office, but we're gonna try our best to make this a better video channel. But anyways, enough rambling on. I'm Richard Dubya. I want to wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, a good whatever. Catch you later.